I don't care how you was feeling before. Nope. But right now, it's time to feel good. Yeah. Let's go. I'm good. I'm good. It don't matter how my day starts off, because I'm good.
The BunLife Podcast is brought to you by Arch Healthcare. Arch Health Medical Group's primary goal is to be patient-focused throughout their organization and to serve the community with excellence every day. To heal, comfort, and promote health in the communities they serve. archhealth.org.
So, hey, Korren, how are you doing this week?
I'm groovy.
That's good. We have all kinds of things going on now that we're in the holiday season.
Yes, so much. It's a crazy time of year because then we go right into, once the new year starts, we have all the birthdays and stuff too. So it's crazy.
Yes, we do. We both have daughters and kids who have birthdays in February. I think that's a big month for you. And I know it's a big month for us as well.
Yeah.
But one thing that we were chatting about recently, because you have a young daughter, but I have an adult daughter, is her dating life. How that's going.
It. No, it's my favorite. Every time I'm on the phone with you, all of a sudden I hear, Korren, I went on a new date. And I'm like, tell me all about it.
Well, what's hard for me right now? Well, first of all, and those of you that are out there know, I've mentioned this before. My daughter lives at home while she is getting her bachelor's degree. So she's in her teaching credential program. Almost done. She finished finally. She passed the test. So she's almost done. She just has to do student teaching. Woo-hoo. But because she lives at home, there are house rules. And one of them is, and we call it a courtesy curfew. And so there's a saying that I like to tell all kids and all adults, nothing good happens after midnight. I've seen it on cop shows as well. And so it's...
Define good.
Yeah.
Because...
You're dreaming right now. Well, let's just say kids can get into trouble. And I mean kids that are single and,
kids who think they're adults.
They think they're adults, yes. And my daughter is definitely in that category. But so she has that courtesy curfew. But dating has been interesting because now dating has to do not just with who you meet at the gym or if you go out for happy hours with your friends. Now it's called dating apps. And there's like...
Yeah, that was not a thing, really.
It really, when you and I were dating, not personally, when we were dating our spouses.
It was a good time, Terry.
I know. But it wasn't like we had Tinder or, and I think it was at one point MySpace, and now there's Bumble. She told me about Bumble that only the women can respond. And I was like, what does that mean?
It's kind of...
She said, so what happens is that you basically, it's something you put out there. And by the way, they're not a sponsor, just putting it out there. But she said you can see all the profiles of the guys and then they can extend it if you swipe right or left, but they can't contact you until you contact them. I'm
not sure how I feel about that.
I'm like, well, what's that about? She goes, it just gets rid of the trolls. I'm like,
Derek, I think, you know what we should do? We should totally just set up like a fake account just to see like what happens. Actually, Daryl and I have talked about going like on Match.com and just seeing if we get matched. But then I was like,
no, because that could lead to, the Vegas lady. What's her name?
Oh God, no.
Dolly Madison or Holly Madison or something like that. But yeah, she puts names in that black book. But I just think it's funny because now there's something called coffee and bagels. And I mean, yeah.
Is that like a thing that they do? Like Netflix and chill, but like coffee and bagels? Yeah,
it's like another dating app. But
it's an
yeah, she's met, she meets every once in a while and then she'll be like, I really like this guy and I've deleted all my apps. I'm like, okay, this week again. And so I'm like, you didn't delete the account. You deleted the app off your phone so you can't check it. And she goes, oh, is that what I did? I'm like, you think I'm an idiot? I'm not stupid. I'm like, come on.
Summer, you're hilarious.
So she's planning a trip this weekend and it's overnight. And it's making me a little nervous.
She's 23.
I know, but she is not an experienced girl. And so she's just making me nervous. She's like, Mama, don't worry. It's fine. We're going with other couples. It's not like this huge romantic getaway. It's just a fun trip up to the lake and all this kind of stuff. I'm like,
she's not going to have a curfew.
No. And they're not driving anywhere. And I know there's going to be alcohol. So I mean, the funny thing is that he came into the house and he's early 30s and he asked me, can she go? And I was like, okay, awkward. I'm like, I'm like, well, she's 23, and she's like, yeah, but I'm being courteous and
courteous at the house rules.
Yes,
because she told him.
That's what she told him.
Yeah.
So that was kind of interesting. So it's, It's finding that balance between being mom and friend. And I know that you joke around all the time about being Carson's BFF because you guys like doing stuff together,
Yes.
but you're still in mom mode. I mean,
Heck
you're full on mom mode. I'm in mom mode, trying not to be and trying to be more friend mode.
Your daughter is actually getting to an age where she's able to have that back and forth conversation with you about your work day, my conversations with Carson are a little bit more limited, but that's how, I mean, my mom and I went from super mom mode with me to friends. So, but that was after I was out of the house, moved out, I was married, and all that good stuff.
See, my mom and I did not have a relationship. So since I left home so early, so this is where I think I overcompensate sometimes.
It's fair.
Because I don't want to alienate her, but again, I want her to be safe. And there's a lot of stuff going on out there. But a question to you. So as we get into dating and curfews, and I know what you might do later on, you've got a lot of time to think about it, but
I hope
it also brings up things like chores and allowance. So, Carson's old enough now to do some chores. I did see Dylan taking his own diapers in the house the other day.
I did make him take his own
diapers. He doesn't get an allowance for that, apparently. But how do you handle that now?
So Carson is actually required to do a few chores around the house. We try to instill a concept of we are a family. We work together. Sometimes I do things for you, and sometimes you do things for me. We all work together. Sometimes we do things together. Obviously, there's only things that I can do and should do. But it's not like I have her cleaning my room or something like that. Her chores every day, she's required to come home and tidy up her room. And if she's keeping up on it, it shouldn't take more than a few minutes. I don't make her wipe down her dresser every day or anything like that, but she is required to tidy up her room to the point where I'm not stepping on Legos and there's not things under her bed and her bed's made. And then she does need to wipe down the counters and the toilet in the bathroom with the cleaning wipes, like the Clorox wipes, and make sure that the bathroom is tidied up. It takes her all of 15 minutes unless suddenly her arms and legs are broken and she's tired and she's hungry and she's,
Which sounds like that happens once in a while.
Does happen, definitely. Most certainly, actually. But yeah, she's required to do that every day. And when it's laundry time, for the most part, I do it. But a lot of times we have her sort her laundry out and put it on hangers and fold the things, and then I put it away for her. It's just more so for the fact of responsibility and appreciation. So
and
she has
teaching her life skills
exactly.
as well.
Yeah. So we really want her to learn to respect her toys and her belongings instead of cutting up her Barbie's hair and taking toys and using them for things that aren't, and I don't know how to kind of get into that, but it's more so a matter of responsibility for her items. And these are things that were given to her. People paid for them. I'm going to take care of them. Just like this room. I want people to be able to come in here and play with me. So in order to do that, I need to clean my room.
Do you have extra stuff where she earns allowance or not yet?
We do not do allowance. I don't, Daryl and I have talked about allowance when she gets older. But it's going to be circumstantial. So it's more so, are you doing what you need to be doing? Well, when you're doing what you need to be doing, we will help you with the things that you may want. Now, of course, we're going to be able to provide what you need. But if you want to do certain things extra, then you need to be performing above and beyond at school. You need to be behaving as the good human that we've raised you to be. You don't get to, punch a kid in the face and then be like, Mom, can I have $20?
Right.
So it's more going to be like, what were your plans? Oh, I'd like to go with my friends to
the movies or
bowling
something.
or a movie or I don't know what they're going to freaking do when they're that age.
Exactly.
Sure. No problem. You've earned it.
Right.
And, but it's not going to be a pay up mom situation.
Right.
And I imagine we'll do the same with Dylan. Dylan does not have chores, but we do teach him how to, just like with Carson, to clean up after himself. Obviously he's 18 months, so he can only do so much, but all right, you're done with your food. Where does if it's like a paper plate, where does it go? He goes, trash. And then he takes it to the trash. Sometimes we help him open it and then he throws it away, just teaching him that responsibility of cleaning up after yourself.
Right. Well, that's good. One thing about Dylan I think is funny. Your husband posted a video the other night where he was like, time to wake up. And he was in his crib and Daryl was trying to get him out of his crib. And he's like, no. And he sits down, he goes, night. And I started busting up laughing. I'm like, well, not only is he talking quite a bit now, but he's like, I'm not having any of it. It's early. Do you know what time it is? I just thought it was hilarious.
Dad, how rude of you to ask me to wait.
And I just heard Daryl laugh. He was just like, no, it's time to get up. And it was just funny.
I watched that video so many times. I watched it twice
because I was like, he didn't do that. It was just funny.
He's like, no, down, nine.
Yeah. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so funny to me. But it's funny because, just getting back to the dating thing, when my daughter was a late bloomer, she had one boyfriend in high school, and then she's like, I can't believe I went out with him. He was such a goober. I was like,
a goober.
Okay. But she really didn't have boyfriends until after college and in the last maybe 2 years. And now it's like every week there's somebody new. And so I think she's feeling her way, trying to figure out, do I want somebody my age or do I want somebody that's, like this current one is 9 years older, and that's a little daunting for mom. So he's older than you. And so that's a little weird like
for
Carson.
Me. Carson compares everybody to how old I am. She'll be like, Mommy, you're older than that person. You're like way older than that. Thank you for reminding me.
Can you not tell Carson my age? Because that would be a problem.
No, it's funny that you mentioned that because I actually only had one real boyfriend in high school.
Oh, okay.
And then it was a good time in college, a real good time. But then I met Daryl. I actually met him really young. So I definitely got the chance to date. But I think college age, 18, 19, 20, 21, in those early college, or early 20s, that's really a self-finding. Yeah. I mean, you really decide what you want, what's important to you, what you don't want, and how to balance that with the things that you're working towards and your goals. I mean, but then again, I used to date people for like a good dinner. I was a starving college student. Are you kidding me? Some guy was like, I've been meaning to take you out. And I'm like, yes, you have. In fact, I have. I'm hungry. And where did you say you wanted to? That sounds so good.
I could totally see you doing that. And the thing is, I could see Summer doing that as well. My daughter would do that too.
I wouldn't be like an asshole about it. I wouldn't be like, oh, give me the lobster. I'd be like, oh, I'm hungry.
Yeah.
And
free meal.
And I work and pay for my own school, and I don't have a car, and you think I'm cute.
Well, it was just funny when I was in college. One thing that we did have not a dating app, and I don't remember what it was called, but they used to, and it was snail mail. They used to send you these, my friend and I, Tina, and actually now it's Summer's stepmom. She actually married my ex-husband, but my friend and I from college, we joined this one thing, and we used to get these papers in the mail, and they used to give it to us. They were like like when you match with somebody based on your profile, was in triplicate. And so they'd keep one, a yellow copy went in the file. They'd send one to the guy, and you get the pink one, right?
It sounds like like Valentine's matchup.
It just popped in my head about when we used to do that. And I was like, I think like 19 or 20. And I just remember getting those, and I remember double booking one night. And so when Summer talks about her dates, and I'm like, don't do this. And I'm like, oh shoot, God, she never asks about this. Luckily, she gets bored about listening to podcasts, so she won't hear this. But I just remember I went out to dinner with some guy, and I was like, oh, he was awful. And I remember coming home, and there was a guy at my door, and I was like, oops. Hi. And I never wanted him to pick me up at my apartment. And I was just like, he goes, oh, we matched and I looked you up. I'm like, you looked me up where? So that was a little creepy. And he goes, yeah, are you ready? Line. I'm like, okay, this is weird. But yeah, I just remember double booking one night and going, whoops, I need to be better about that.
You know what? When I was in high school, the guy that I ended up being my boyfriend, a serious boyfriend during that time, I double booked him. He was a double booker. Or a double bookie, actually. And I had, oh, now I think about that, sounds so bad. I had breakfast with one guy, and then he dropped me off at my house, and it was like we hung out, after. And then by the time he dropped me off at my house, like not long after, then the next guy picked me up for dinner.
Well, and I had 2 dinner dates, and then the other one, but I really liked the second. Well, and the second one I really liked, and I wished I didn't go out with the first one. And the second one was like, well, I really planned this thing, and I'm like, in my head, but I'm full. I don't want
You better find some room.
I know. I was like,
you better make some space for a salad or something.
I was like, but I don't want to eat again. So it was kind of funny. I just remember that, but it's just funny because, again, trying to find that balance about, honey, this is great for you. And otherwise, like, you just met him. So that's kind of interesting there.
You're going to let her fall, right?
Yeah. You and I had a long conversation about this, just letting her be who she is. So I come back to Korren when I'm just like, and it's not because I'm like, okay, tell me what to do. I'm like,
never, ever.
No, it's basically me in my head going, I'm being extra, aren't I? And Korren's like, yeah, as a matter of fact, you are.
You know what though? When you want my opinion, you will ask it. And I very much understand that. I would never, not never. It's unlikely that I'll give you my opinion unless you ask me. And sometimes I can tell you want to ask me, but you don't want to ask, like physically ask.
Well, there's always a rule, and I think lawyers use this rule. Don't ask a question that you don't want the answer to. And so there's sometimes I don't want to ask because I know what the answer is going to be.
Well, I think that's what happened the other day.
Yeah. We were talking about kids handling money.
Let me backtrack here. Your daughter is a direct reflection of you in a good way. And you need to remember that.
She's a good kid. I definitely lucked out with her. I don't like it though, and it's something that, not about Summer, but just about, I get parents sometimes, or even kids, mostly parents, and some of our friends in the past have been like, my kid doesn't do drugs. They don't get in trouble. They're not in jail. So they should get this and this. I'm like, whoa. First of all,
there are more tiers to this.
Yeah. They're not supposed to do drugs. They're not supposed to be in jail. And so they don't get rewarded for not being a criminal. Okay. You get, like you were saying with Carson, this is a family. This is what we do all together. This is, making life work. And no, obviously Summer's never had any of those things, but she does have responsibilities. And one of them is to her family that, I expected good grades, and we expect her to be a good person, and, and we expect consideration. And one is her curfew. One is her chores would be unloading the dishwasher. I hate unloading the dishwasher.
I'll do the dishwasher.
I don't mind loading it. I don't like unloading it. We have a cat, so she has to do the cat litter, and she's supposed to keep her room and main bathroom picked up, and she absolutely doesn't. How hard is it to close the shower curtain?
We've discussed the toilet paper.
Yeah, we know the toilet paper. That has not changed, by the way. It's actually gotten worse.
We'll just replay the podcast for her.
Yeah. So, but she does get extra, like, I'll, float her some money. I'll go, hey, do you have any cash on you? She's like, no. So every once in a while I'll be like, okay, here's like $20, $25. If I find out she's like done my grocery shopping for me for the week, or she's, done a few things for me that's extra, then I'm like, can you drop off my cleaning?
Yeah.
Can you take this stuff to Goodwill? And she like run a bunch of errands because I'm really, really busy at work right now. And so I'm like, hey, so to me, that's,
the collaborative effort, that's that family dynamic.
Let's take a moment to recognize Stanford Healthcare, who's committed to providing clear, accurate, and honest information about their quality of care so that patients can make informed healthcare decisions. Stanford Healthcare is creating new delivery models, leveraging advanced resources to create seamless continuity of care for every patient. StanfordHealthcare.org.
So my experience, I moved out technically I was 17 when I graduated high school. So funny story, did I ever tell you? So I moved out, went away to college. But then I was still in college when I came back home and transferred universities. And I was home for about 6 months in between moving back out.
Was that hard?
Moving back home?
Yes.
Heck, yes.
Not just because you're like, I don't want to move back home, but was it hard just because now you felt like, I don't know if your mom and dad were there, but that they were like kind of not telling you what to do, but they basically knew what you were doing?
So Daryl and I were together then. So it's not like I was dating and all those things. Daryl and I were already an item. And when I moved out, I actually moved out with him.
Okay.
So,
the second time.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but when I moved back home, my father and I were clashing just as we were before I left. So it was a struggle, but it's funny because I was moving out and I actually got kicked out of my house by my father the night before I was moving out.
Well, that doesn't even make sense. You're going to move out anyway.
It's one of those things. So like, and I think I'm maybe not agreeing with it, but I'm understanding more and more why parents may do the things that they do. And it's, you make these kids and your whole job and your whole goal in life from that point forward is dedicated to keeping them in this mold and shape that you've created and sending them off into the world. And then there's that moment right before they go off into the world where you realize, oh, shit.
Yeah.
They're leaving.
They're leaving.
And now I have no control over that. And now they're their own person and I have no say, no input, no nothing, relatively speaking. And now what do I do? And so I want to show my level of impact on you and how I can still impact you even though you're leaving tomorrow. And maybe because of his upbringing and him being a man and his way of showing that. And I don't know. I'm speculating.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll ever. He doesn't even remember it, actually, to be honest. Everyone else does. But he was just like, you know what? You're out.
Did you have to leave that night?
Yeah. And then my mom had a conversation with him and then I came back home.
Oh, okay.
They let me, like, my mom wasn't going to allow
pack
that.
up your stuff, yeah.
Yeah, my mom was like, nope, reel it back in.
Well, I think for me, and I don't like this phrase when people say pick your battles. I hate that phrase. To me, it's like, wait, I'm the parent. This is what's going to happen. However, as Summer has gotten older, I now embrace the phrase, like trying not to be like, you can't, more like, well, I don't think you should, but it's your decision. And this is why I don't think you should. You tell me why you should go. And so now, or I'm thinking like, I think it'd be good for you to go. I think it's good. I think you should do that. But could you be, and I actually know how to word it now. So she thinks I'm actually agreeing with her when actually I'm like, I really don't want you to go, but you need to do this. But it's like, you need to be careful. Like, for example, this weekend, I said, I'd actually like you to drive. And she's like, really? I go, I don't want you stranded. Just in case anything happens. It's a new relationship. I said, and you're meeting his friends and, guys and gals.
It's his area, his turf.
His area, his turf. I said, he can always get a ride home if he has to. It's only, an hour and a half away. I said, but you take your car. That way, if you just think this is not right, you can escape. And she's like, you're okay with that? Because usually I don't like her driving hours away. It's like, because she's just not used to that. Even though she did a road trip up to Napa for a concert. But I'm just like, yeah, you need to do that. And she's like, oh, thank you. I really think that's a great idea. So I think that she's now embracing the fact. And now, because I did that, she's like, so should I take this when I pack? And should I do this? So now she's kind of like including me in her trip, which I like.
That honesty and that communication is good.
Right.
It reminds me, actually, when I first started dating, my mom wanted me to have a cell phone because she never wanted me to feel like I had to stay on a date.
Yeah.
I mean, this was before cell phones were
right.
Like, so, she was like, I want you to have a cell phone because I want you to be able to call me and I can come pick you up if I need to, if your date is going bad. And I never want you to be in a situation that's unsafe and feel like you have to stay there or you can't go. Because she's like, I'm always here to come get you. She would do that with parties too.
I would do that. Yeah, I would do that with anything as well.
Yeah. She's like, if you ever feel uncomfortable anywhere or friends, I want you to be able to call me. And I did actually call her one time. And that really built and maintained trust. And that's
Summer did
huge.
too. She was, I think it was last year, she went out to brunch in Newport Beach. And I asked her not to go because I knew the girls she was going with. And I said, you know what? You're going with 3 girls and all they do is drink all day long. I said, that's not you. You don't even do that. And she goes, I know. She goes, I'm going to have just some champagne, whatever. She goes, we're going to park my car here and Uber and whatever. And I said, Summer, I just don't think you should go. And I think maybe when she was 21, since she's 20, it was 2 years ago. Well, I get a call 2 hours later. Sarah's done this. I've lost my phone. I'm actually on this one's phone. I put it down for a second. Somebody stole it. It was a big drama. And I'm like, okay, I'll come get you. Where are you? And she's like, don't be mad. I'm like, I'm not mad. I'm like, even though it was Sunday and there was football on, but okay, whatever. So I went and got her.
Not the damn football.
Yeah, I know. So I went and got her and picked her up and, and then while she's in the car, she's bawling because her phone is lost. And I'm just like, you know what? Call right now. Call Apple, AT&T, whatever. Find out you're insured, and she was like, thank you. I'm like, and she's like, it's going to be $100. I'm like, well, you have to pay for it, but get your phone because you can't find it. I guess it was locked and it was this big drama. But because I did that, now I feel like she's, like you said, it built some trust. And now I know she would always call me first. If there's ever an issue, she'll call me first. And I want her to.
I've learned a lot through my sisters too, because they're so much younger than me. And I learned quickly something a little bit different, being that I'm their sister, not their mom, even though I feel like their mother sometimes. And I had to make sure that my number one priority was keeping the lines of communication there, and that there was honesty. And that has actually helped me learn more about what I want to do for Carson. And I've kind of pulled from that experience, because the more they are honest with me and the more they're open with me, the more I'm gaining that rapport that is building a solid foundation. And that's what I want with my daughter.
Yeah, no, that's great. What are your thoughts as far as when they should move out? Obviously, we have different, I moved out when I was 15 and a half. And so, but it was a bad home situation. Yeah. But, still graduated college, still graduated high school a whole bit, but I basically was on my own. I know you left pretty early, came back for a short period of time, then went back out.
Yeah.
My rule with Summer is, obviously she went away to Indiana for college for 2 years and came back and finished it. As long as she's in school full time, she doesn't have to pay rent, but she has to pay her expenses, like, her cell phone, her car insurance, and money she spends or whatever. But, so she has to have a job at least. But when it comes to moving out, it's like, okay, so once she gets her credential and she has a job, do I say, it's been great having you? Or do I basically give her a chance to take that adult salary now, pay off some debt, and then, save a little bit to move out? What do you do at that point? And should she pay rent? So I have friends, and
like, if she were to move out, you're saying, should she have to pay the rent when she moves out?
No. Oh. If I let her stay for that extra year where she's not in school? Because I have friends right now that have kids living at home that are 28, 29, and 30, and they don't pay rent. And they're in jobs that they couldn't even afford to move out. One of them makes like $1,200 a month, and the other one's like $15. And then she's always traveling across the world. Yeah. And I'm like, how is that okay? And she's just like, well, I didn't get to do it when I was a kid, and so I just really want her to experience life. I'm like, but she's almost 30. And she's almost 30. At some point, you have to get a real job. But and I know that sounds like judgment. It so is. I know. And I'm trying not to be judgy. I'm trying to just understand. And it's really hard to understand.
I think every situation's a little bit different. In my personal opinion, if my child is attending college to further their education, and let's just say they're in a sport and they don't have time to work because their sport maybe is paying for their college because they're on a scholarship or something like that. Well, then maybe being home is the best option. It's all going to depend on how everything's being funded. Right. If I would love actually for my kids to go away to school, not because I wouldn't want them at home, but more so because of the experience. I absolutely feel that college is not just about the education on curriculum. I think it's a social experience. I think it's a cultural experience. And I think that you learn to go outside of your own personal bubble, outside of your own home bubble, outside of a lot of bubbles that you don't realize have formed and shaped over the years. And you learn about yourself. You learn about other people. You learn about other places, other things. You try new food. You go to new places. And I think that is a vital part of becoming an adult.
Yeah, I think when Summer went to Indiana, it was awesome for her. She actually, because since she was there on softball and academic scholarship, and it was a Christian college, a very strict Christian college. She was not allowed to bring her car. Mm-hmm. She was not allowed to live off campus, and there was not co-ed dorms. And it was, talk about strict. It was but it also, we found out it was really too far away for her. It was snowing there all the time. She's a Cali girl. She didn't know what to do with the snow. There was no family within a 200-mile radius. And so I think it was too far. And she ended up coming home 2 years later, mostly because she hurt her elbow because she was a pitcher. But I think that it was but she appreciated her home life and having her vehicle back and having just a little bit more freedom. And, I just felt like she was always a good kid, but she became a better adult when she came home.
I think that's fair. I don't think there's a right, wrong, or actual guideline as to when you should move out or, in relation to school and things. I think it's all relative, but
I see those soap operas where they've got estates and the kids live there forever. I'd like one of those. But
I would love an estate
with a nice little maid and the chauffeur stuff. But when you're just dealing with the regular family life, it's interesting because there's no right or wrong answer. It's just opinion and what works for your family.
Yeah, because there's also the financial situation, what you can afford.
For me,
and stuff.
I just don't like seeing kids take advantage of their parents to the point where they don't feel like they have to get a job or have to do something that's, adult. So that's the only thing I don't like about it.
Yeah, that absolutely makes sense. So with that in mind, keeping it in our normal routine, I wanted to kind of, celebrate the small victories that we've had, because I know it's been super crazy. We've got the holidays going on, and I know that you were just talking about how awesome it was that you were able to convince Summer to go on this trip, but like in your own way. So give me a victory.
Well, a victory was that, and just in talking about dating and curfews and allowance and chores and her being a kid and not being a kid and being an adult and everything. In our conversation this week about finances, she finally grabbed her checkbook on her own and entered all her stuff this week.
That is
And I'm like,
awesome.
What are you doing? She goes, I need to enter all my stuff and balance my check. I'm like, thank God. So she finally balanced her own checkbook this week. I know that seems late, but
I think it's funny that you have her balance a checkbook.
It was funny.
You still do checkbook balancing?
I do. Yeah. I do, because she debits quite a, the debit card, just making sure she knows what's in there. No, she wouldn't even know what to do with that. No, we actually have the written checkbook thing.
But do you do a checkbook?
I do. I actually have 4 checking accounts.
You do
because I hate Excel spreadsheets. I hate them.
I can't with you, Terry.
I just pull my checkbook. I got it all in there. It's all good.
That just means that you have a lot of expenditures.
Unfortunately, yes. Now, my husband's my CFO of my business, so he's the one that deals with that. But other than that, yeah.
That makes sense.
What's your small victory?
My small victory is that I started baking again.
Yay.
I'm so happy because it's finally cooled down to the point where at night I don't feel like I want to die in a sweltering bath of hot air.
That means that I'm going to get some peanut butter chocolate chip cookies with no nuts soon.
Maybe. Peanut butter chocolate chip. Wait, I never signed up for that. I don't make those.
Okay, well, you better find a recipe.
Yeah,
I'll find it. They do not have cream cheese in them, just so you know.
You're a jerk.
Yeah, you're a super jerk.
No, I promise you my red velvet peanut butter cookies, the one with the Hershey Kisses on it.
Oh, that's right.
That's the one I promised you.
That's right.
There's no nuts.
There's no nuts. As long as there's no nuts.
There's peanut butter, but it's...
Oh, peanut butter's fine.
Yeah, okay.
It's no nuts. Yeah. It's kind of like I like tomatoes, but I hate ketchup.
Okay.
I know.
Terry. Have you ever had jalapeno ketchup?
Ketchup is just wrong. I know your husband's trying to talk me into the organic ketchup.
I just had that the other day.
Yeah, I don't do ketchup.
Wait,
and
okay.
He's like, oh, you're probably a mustard person. And I'm like, I'm so a mustard person.
Do you have mustard on your soft pretzels?
Yes.
So good.
Yes.
I put mustard. I have a sweet honey mustard that I put on my sandwiches, and I put it in my tuna.
Oh, interesting.
But you don't do
I don't
fish.
like honey. I don't like honey, but I like tuna.
Honey. I said...
You said
honey mustard.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So that's my small victory. I'm baking again, folks.
Nice.
It's a good time.
Yeah, I don't bake, but I do cook, so I've been cooking again.
So I'll be expecting that.
There you go. Okay. Well, hey, it's been a great episode today, and we are really excited for what's coming up and the holidays and getting later into the fall season. So everyone, thank you for joining us today. And Korren,
make it a great day.
Yeah, everyone have a good one. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Thank you to Pete's Coffee, my Laguna Niguel location, for partnering with us today. If you haven't had a chance to stop in, they have awesome seating, outlet plugs at almost every seat, and the baristas are friendly and artistic in their fancy drink making. Also check out their cool art on the wall of random photos of routes to find good coffee around the town. Pete's Coffee on Aliso Creek in Laguna Niguel. Mention our BunLife podcast in December and get $1 off a specialty drink.
Thank you for listening to the BunLife Podcast. You can find us at www.thebunlife.com. You can email us at thebunlifeofficial@gmail.com. You can also find us on social media platforms, including Instagram and Facebook at The BunLife Official. You can stream our podcast on almost all platforms, including YouTube, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Google Play, as well as our website. Don't forget to rate us and leave us a review on whatever platform you listen to. Now, everyone, make it a great day. Until next time.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Thank you.